have to say, even at that point, as she was getting older, you couldn't tell her anything. You could never correct Phyllis. If Phyllis had nice things, they were hers and hers alone. Child, ain't that a cancer? Them bitches don't share.
I don't hear nobody out there. Hold it down. Hold it down.
That little one, y'all. Anyway, good morning, love bugs. Good morning. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment respectfully. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below in the description bar and or the join button here on the YouTube. You know why? Because the paying members already know what the next book is. You guys are just finding it out today. Now let's begin reading Strength of a Woman. The Phyllis Hyman story. Remember, y'all, all that movement you hearing in the background, I'm so sorry that it's distracting, but it's the boys. By the time that Phyllis, Janine, and Ann were entering their teen years, their mother was beginning to make some headway with her illness. As a result, Phyllis's 4 younger siblings recalled their formative years and their mother differently than the older children. Yeah, that's normal, said Janine. My mother never touched me growing up. She didn't hug me. She didn't spank me. Now not hugging me, that was not inconsistent with the 50s. But never spanking me, never touching me, that's kind of hard for a parent to do. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Kim, who has converted to the Muslim faith and now goes by Sakina, recalls her mother as extremely loving and caring despite her depression. Whatever their birth order, it's safe to say that all the Hyman children felt some resentment towards one or both of their parents. And Phyllis was likely no exception. I think she both resented and did not understand why they kept having children that they couldn't take care of. I mean, that's most of our opinions. Most of us who have like 3 and below children, we looking at the world like, how in the hell is you having all these kids? I know I got a good government job. Okay, and I'm struggling to make sure that these kids have the necessities. And you around here having 7? It's gonna be annoying as fuck. I'm sorry, y'all. They're distracting. They be blowing me, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, it's hard. Whatever their birth order, it's safe to say that all the Hyman children felt some resentment toward one or both of their parents, and Phyllis was likely no exception. I think she both resented and did not understand why they kept having children that they couldn't take care of, said Janine. Meanwhile, Sakina, don't forget Sakina is Phyllis's younger sibling Kim, who has converted to the Muslim faith. Meanwhile, Sakina remembers that Phyllis used to pretend she was her parents' only child. I think Phyllis felt like we were like cousins, and actually when she was little, she used to tell people that we were her cousins. She had her little fantasy world that she really didn't belong. Phyllis continued to sing in the city-wide talent contest that took place in various schools of the Pittsburgh district. Donna Hubbard was a student at Knoxville Junior High when she heard Phyllis, who was auditioning for a talent show that was to be held at that school for the first time. He said that Phyllis Hyman never needed a microphone because she projected so loud and clear and crisp that there was no need for a microphone. Did Phyllis Hyman have a big ass mouth? Don't get me wrong, I'm not joning on her, but like one of those big Adele Givens mouths that opened up real wide, like a Rochelle Farrell opened up real wide and belt. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of people that have that voice are spectacular. Like you got to tell them to step back away from the microphone. No, girl, no, fuck it. Give me the microphone. Like a Patti LaBelle or a Fantasia or Jasmine Sullivan. You know I'm on that Jasmine Sullivan. She is so like unsung. Okay, but anyway. She said that the lady was so loud she didn't need a microphone. She was just that loud and good. Remember when we read the Patti LaBelle book and Dionne Warwick had to tell her, Patti, be quiet. Don't be so loud. Stop being so loud. Soon enough, all the kids around town knew Phyllis. If not by name, then as the big girl, as she was often called. She was popular for her talent, but already nearly 6 feet tall. She was not at all popular as a possible romantic interest for the boys in her school. Nobody called me, not very much. She said of her high school years. I was as big as the guys or bigger. They'd tease me. I wasn't dainty like the other girls. Guys never followed me around. I never experienced being a girl. I was always a woman. If a part of Phyllis felt shunned by the lack of attention, another part of her was relieved. Boys and love led to marriage and kids, a road Phyllis had no desire to go down. I was one of 7 kids, and I knew I didn't want to be a mother of 7 children. It was all I ever saw. I wanted to be a working woman, an independent woman, and not have to depend on a man. Phyllis took the energy her classmates were expending on the opposite sex and put it into her singing. Though Phyllis may have felt awkward, her sisters recall her as popular. She was attractive, talented, and stylish. She took her babysitting money, her lunch money, to make sure that she had the jazziest earrings, the newest color in lipstick, fingernail polish, said Janine. That was the way she was. The entertainment business did not create that. Phyllis Hyman was the star in our neighborhood. I can believe that. I don't know how our 2 brothers felt, but as her sisters, we were her court. When she went out on a date, we all had a role to play. I miss get her something to drink. Iced tea, hot tea, help her zip up her dress. We never complained. That's just what we did. She's going out on a date. We must be there to assist her. Phyllis's brother, Michael, saw this too. She was always a person who commanded attention, even as a sibling, he said. She had everybody waiting on her. My sister had the same type of dominating way about her as my father. I'd have to say, even at that point, as she was getting older, you couldn't tell her anything. You could never correct Phyllis. If Phyllis had nice things, they were hers and hers alone. Child, ain't that a cancer? Them bitches don't share. Now, they'll get something for you. Okay, and that's what you have. That's what I gave you. But don't come over here asking me for mine. She worked for them. She earned them. And she didn't see the need to share her clothes or jazzy jewelry with her sisters. I didn't say it. The book fucking said it. Don't be mad at me. Phyllis's room was a fun play spot for her younger siblings, but only when she was out of the house. Once twins Anita and Michael had a little too much fun in Phyllis's room playing with matches and accidentally set her clothes on fire. My mother was so afraid that she was going to do something, said Michael. She actually hid us from her. This little Phyllis Hyman is a friggin' tyrant. And I'm sure we've all had cousins or siblings that we feel were tyrants. Like, you be cautious around them. Because you know that little mother hunchy got the propensity to break open a turtle shell and then boil the turtle. Phyllis cherished her personal space, which was often hard to come by in the packed Hyman house. Phyllis's first real boyfriend was Richard Wall. The two met at a picnic in South Park in the summer of 1967. Phyllis had just graduated from high school, and Richard, whom everyone called Richie, had just returned home from a tour of duty in Vietnam. Danger. I don't know too many of them damn Vietnam veterans that came home mentally. They came home, but they didn't come home. You know what I'm saying? They went and came back different people. My mother always said that war turned one of my brothers into an alcoholic and the other one into a junkie. That would be my Uncle Bummer, that's Swell's father, and Uncle Finey. The player from the Himalayas, he ain't had no goddamn, he had girlfriends. I noticed Phyllis right off, said Richie. She was hard to miss. She was extremely attractive. She seemed to me to be a part of, but apart from everybody else in her neighborhood. As the two got to know each other and began to grow serious, Richie considered it quite a coup that he'd claimed Phyllis as his girl. She always carried herself in a very proud, special way. I thought I was really doing something to have gotten together with her. And that's the truth. I'll give you kudos for getting her, because that's a feat. You know, and the thing about cancers is once you got them, they dedicated to you. Oh my God, they dedicated to their man and their family. After high school, Phyllis joined a group called the Sounds of Ebony, a trio. The Sounds of Ebony sang what Phyllis referred to as message songs, and even shared a bill with the Last Poets during a Black Week celebration at Pitt University. Phyllis's old music teacher, David Tr0ubling, meanwhile had left Carrick and taken a position with the Robert Morris Business College. The school was attempting to expand its focus from business into a fully accredited state university. As part of the accreditation process, the school needed to start a music department, and they brought Tr0ubling on board to head it. Guess who we hold? Bring. Hi, Phyllis. Hey, Tr0ubling, what you want? Girl. Hey, I got a scholarship over here. It's the music school's scholarship. And I think you're going to be the first recipient. Phyllis is like, oh, yeah. Get your ass over here. We need you. Around this time, a major shakeup occurred in the Hyman household. Phyllis's father left her mother and moved in with another woman. My mother was crushed, Sakina recalled. But Philip didn't go far. He moved in with his girlfriend, Willa, in Belts Hoover. The kids disliked her at first, but watching their father with this new woman was also an eye-opener. She put him in check, said Janine. She was his equal, and he was in no way with her the way he was with our mother. So that really let me know that one, my parents should have never been together. They probably wouldn't have been had my mother not gotten pregnant. Two, that because my mother was not able to stand up to him, he just ran over her. See, he needed a woman who could hold up her end and stand up to him. And my mother wasn't able to do that. Philip wasn't always awful to Louise, though. She just completely loved him. And even though he was a jerk sometimes, he wasn't always a jerk, said Sakina. My father loved my mother. It's just that their relationship was her depression and his alcoholism. That's profound. Not long after her father left the house, Phyllis moved out too. Initially, Phyllis wasn't sure she wanted to attend college. She was interested in becoming an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer. My father told me Vista would always be there, but this scholarship wouldn't. So I took it, but I didn't finish college. I wasn't really prepared for it. Phyllis did try for a time to get with the program. She respected Tr0ubling and she wanted to make him proud. Tr0ubling started a course at Robert Morris and took the 30 or so students in it all over the city and suburbs to perform. In his spare time, Tr0ubling began working with her privately. He would pick Phyllis up on Sunday mornings and drive her to his home in the suburb of Gibstonia, some 20 miles away. There he would spend hours training Phyllis and teaching her new songs. Then in the evening, Tr0ubling's wife would drive Phyllis back to the city. Phyllis's father wasn't particularly fond of the notion that his daughter might pursue a career in the arts, and he grew suspicious of the Tr0ubling family's influence. He did call me a couple of times, and it was almost sort of like, well, what are you going to do with my daughter? Recalled Trudy Tr0ubling with a laugh. Pause. It's the reason why certain things happen on them documentary series, okay? Do y'all remember that daggone documentary on the Netflix where it was a man who molested the little girl? He literally fell in love and kidnapped the little girl. You hear me? I mean, he loved his little girl, right? And then somehow moved next door to the family of the little girl. And when the mother and father was like, knock, 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 hey, Bill, I don't think this is right that you living next door to my daughter and you kidnapped her and molested her. Somehow the man, the molester, did the booty with the mammy and the pappy. And they ended up kidnapping the little girl again. It was bananas. So Tr0ubling family, if you're befuddled about why the family is not understanding your pure interest in a little girl, it's because of situations like that. Because little kids get kidnapped every day. There's a lot of stuff that be happening in the business. Because I am friends with Mickey Howard, man, when this lady write her book, we need to spend a month together. That's what I'm going to tell her. I'm going to fly out there to California and I'm going to spend a month with her because we need to just sit down one day and just talk about what needs to be in her book. And I'm telling you, that motherfucker, that TV One documentary, although it was good, or what is it, TV One unsung movie, something like that, although it was good, oh my God, it's so much more. You hear me? It's so much more. I've learned a lot from this lady about the business. And we just having conversations. You hear me? One thing that she said that resonates with me is that what R. Kelly has done has been going on forever. I ain't even gonna say years. I'm gonna say since the business was the fucking business. You hear me? It's just R. Kelly is doodle brain that tape. You have to be careful because it's families willing to hand their children to these fools, okay? And it's mother hunchies like Robert that's waiting and praying for a doodle brain family like Aaliyah's family to hand their children over to them. Anyway, let me get back to this story because we're talking about some other shit. Actually, when she went to Robert Morris College, my husband was always getting her out of the frying pan. She missed classes and everything. He wanted her to stay in school, so not only would she have a showcase, but she would have something to fall back on just in case a career in show business didn't work out. Tambury took Phyllis to places like the Crawford Grill and the Lawenda Club, where his friends in the band would let him and his young protege sit in. People just went crazy over her, said Trudy Tambury. At first, when I started to do little clubs, I was okay as long as you weren't looking at me, Phyllis said of this period. I used to think people were out of their minds for paying good money to come and hear me sing. But if Phyllis was blind to her incredible talent, the Tamburys certainly were not. And in later years, she reflected upon their influence in the early stages of her career. After a year at Robert Morris, Phyllis dropped out.